In the early days of rail travel, dining cars didn't exist. The options for meals were few. Sometimes sandwiches and fruit could be purchased on train station platforms or perhaps in the car, but that was unpredictable. If there was enough time, there were establishments at places where the train would stop for water, uh, but the menu was unpalatable. Usually rancid buffalo meat, cold beans, and very strong coffee. Not exactly an inducement to travel. Fred Harvey, an English immigrant with some experience in both the railroad and the restaurant businesses, saw the issue and devised a solution. He first attempted it with the Kansas Pacific Railway in 1876, but those establishments closed. He was later able to contract orally, I might add, with the proprietors of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad to create a series of eating establishments along the route. He opened the first one in Topeka, Kansas, and it was an immediate success. By the end of the 1880s, the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe had Harvey House restaurants stationed at every water stop along their route, about every 100 miles. He insisted on strict rules for the quality of everything that they did. The Harvey House restaurant was meant to be an experience. The railroad agreed to have fresh meat and produce brought into each of the properties, and they stored it on a side line in their special refrigerated cars. The the dishes, the stemware, everything was ordered special. Fine china and white Irish linen tablecloths in the dining rooms. The staff were prepared in a way so that they had codes and signals that allowed them to feed an entire trainload of people within 30 minutes. One of my favorites was the cup code. A wait person could actually tell what the customer had ordered by the position that the cup was in on the saucer. Now, as far as staffing, Harvey is most famous for his innovation with the invention of the Harvey Girls. Harvey employed a white-only female serving staff. As a matter of fact, here's one of the texts of one of his ads. He needed white young women 18 to 30 years of age, of good character, attractive, and intelligent. The girls were well paid. They earned $18.50 a month plus room and board. It's a lot of money in those days. But there were rules. They had a curfew. They were overseen by a senior staff member who was kind of like a house mother, and their uniform was very, very modest. No makeup of any kind, and they had to have exemplary character. No going out and carrying on with the folks in the town. The legend of the Harvey Girls was actually memorialized in a 1946 film starring Judy Garland, and they're known as the women who civilized the West. With some convincing, Harvey actually introduced the dining car to the railroad. It took a little while to get him to do it, and it was only on routes west of Kansas City. These dining cars mirrored the experience people would find in his restaurants. People traveled with the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe because of Harvey's commitment to a standard experience. And many times, the Harvey House experience was as much part of the journey as anything else. It was a destination. People knew what to expect when you walked into a Harvey House. The standardization and the excellence came from his own personal commitment. He personally inspected every single property on a regular basis, and he would take employees to task if they didn't measure up. And his work really provided a template for businesses that would come later, things such as McDonald's, which patterned their own product and service standards on Harvey's, who a half a century before. Harvey died in 1901, leaving behind hotels and restaurants that his family continued to run. They even served servicemen traveling by train during World War II. Harvey was an innovator when it came to restaurant standards and service that we probably shouldn't have forgotten.